Well, good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome to Payne's Education. This is our beginner intermediate class. My name's Gary Edmonds. I am the instructor and host for this series of classes for this quarter. Glad to have you on board as we go through basically the foundational part of your education, right? As you've been going through the lessons and things online, we're just kind of going along the lines and following along with that and helping you get a little bit better feel for what you are doing and how you will do it, so to speak, right? So to get you comfortable with creating your plans and creating things for you to go ahead and continue your investing and your trading and to keep it moving forward throughout the rest of your trading career. So, welcome. Glad to be on board with you as we get to talk about another fun topic today. But before we do jump in, get moving forward with that, let's go through our disclosures. Remember, this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. All investments involve risk, and past performance of anything in the market does not guarantee future results. Unstoppable Prosperity and Charles Payne are not giving investment, tax, legal, or other professional advice. Unstoppable Prosperity retains all titles, interests, and intellectual property rights in the material provided and may not be used without express written consent. Nobody associated with Payne's Education are licensed, so we cannot and do not give recommendations to buy or sell anything. If you see something you like in one of our classes, please make sure you do your own research and analysis on it to see how it fits your investing strategy. The terms Unstoppable Prosperity, Payne's Education, Wall Street Strategies, and other marks and logos displayed on its websites and other communications may not be used without express written consent. Charles Payne's experiences are not typical. His results are not a guarantee of your success. Unstoppable Prosperity is not endorsed by or affiliated with Fox Business. Making Money with Charles Payne is the property of Fox News Network LLC. All right, folks. And so, again, just for those of you who are a little bit newer to the program and starting to attend the classes, just a little bio of who I am. You'll get to know us instructors very well as we are teaching these classes. But there's just me. I've been doing this for a very long time, both as a very active option and stock trader, and as an instructor and as a teacher. So good job on that. CM got the Unbreakable Investor book yesterday. Yeah, good. It's a good book. So good. Look forward to reading it without having to scroll a screen. Yeah, there is something to that. All right, folks. So let's go ahead and get moving forward in the situation in our class and our discussion for today. Um, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over and helping you do searching and creating watch lists. We'll go over kind of a top-down approach. We'll talk about identifying top stocks and sectors. We'll also maybe go over a bottom-up approach and some of the things that we will be doing as well. We'll go over using the searches and scans in some different areas and some different things that you could do as well. Now, for those of you who might have been with me when I was teaching the intermediate advanced class, just a little while ago, well, basically meaning last month in September, we did talk a little bit about routines and part of the things that are going with routines, and one of those things had to do with scans and searches and things like that because it's important for us to make sure that we really use our time efficiently, and that's kind of what routines are. But we do need to also understand that in the aspect of our searching and our scanning and helping us identify opportunities, that time is money, right? You hear me talk about this a lot, but time is money. So one of the things that we are wanting to do and to kind of speed our process up and use our time more wisely is, this is something that you need to talk about. Now, with anything else, folks, when you first start doing something, it will take longer. Not might, it will take longer for you to do it because you're not quite that slick or smooth with it, and you're still kind of learning the process and getting comfortable with what it is that you are trying to do. And so until you get a little bit more polished with it, where you speed some things up, this is where you'll start to learn to get your routines down and the things that you want to do. But for the most part, and these are some of the things that you need to ask yourself, and you have to take in consideration with all this, right? Is how much time do you look and spend for searching for stocks to invest in? Now, you notice I use the word invest because there are some different ways that you can um, use your money in your portfolio in the market. So investing is one. This is kind of a longer term approach. So how much do you spend time do you spend searching for stocks to invest in? For how about on the day? Is it an hour a day, 3 hours a day, 5 hours a day? And then take a kind of project that out for a week. So if you do it on a week, right, is it 5, 10 hours, 15 hours on the week? Now, in addition to that, folks, how much time do you spend searching for stocks to trade? Now, sometimes people will say, well, isn't trade and invest the same thing? Well, not really, but it is the same in the sense that you're looking for something to put your money into. But trade is usually kind of considered a shorter term type of an event, where invest is a longer term type of event. So you might have some different rules. You will well not might you should have some different rules and have different criteria for the type of stocks that you might be looking to invest in from what you're trying to trade. Now, again, are you spending the same amount of time? Are you spending some different times, daily, weekly, in that situation? Now, one thing you do want to think about is how much time is too much time. Folks, you don't want to be a professional searcher because that doesn't do you any good, right? The whole purpose of getting in the market is to actually invest your money, to trade your money. And so you don't want to spend all the time searching. You just want to spend the time actually doing the trades, doing the investing in the account. So how much is too much time for you to go ahead and spend? Now, again, as you're starting out, that time frame will probably be a little bit longer, but as you refine your process, you get a little bit more comfortable with it, you can certainly speed that up. And we'll go over some things today to maybe help out with some of the different things that you're going to be looking at. Now, again, something to ask yourself: why do you spend the amount of time you do in your scans, in your searching? Okay. Do you say, well, there's too many stocks to choose from? Right? Yeah, well, there's a lot of stocks to choose from, and depending on how wide of a net you're going to cast, there can be anywhere from 8,000 to 14,000 stocks out there. Now, if you want to become a little bit more selective and a little bit more picky, you can certainly go closer to the 8,000 or even less, but there's just a lot of stocks, a lot of companies to look at and to analyze. Are you spending too much time because you're always looking for the perfect stock? Folks, let me ask you this. Is there such a thing as a perfect stock out there? What do you think? Jim says, so far, most of my time is spent learning how to use Thinkorswim. Well, sure, that's part of it. So perfect stock. A lot of you saying, no, not really. Andy says, I wish. Same with Steve. No, there's no such thing as a perfect stock. Now, you might find a stock that you really like, and it might be really close to meeting all the criteria that you want to see. But if that's what you're just focusing on, you might be missing out on a lot of opportunities with other stocks that aren't quote unquote perfect. So we're kind of keeping that in mind. If you're not finding things, if you're not coming up with results that you want to see, you might have to loosen those results up a little bit. Maybe one of the things is you don't know what you're looking for. How many of you are in this category? You're still just trying to figure out what exactly it is you're looking for. And I know some of you veterans out there probably know exactly the type of stocks and the things that you're looking for, but maybe some of you newer folks are still kind of scratching your head and trying to come up with a plan to help you understand what you're looking for. Maybe you spend so much time searching for stocks because you think it's fun. How many of you fall into this category? You just do it because it's like a hobby. You think it's fun. You'd rather spend your time searching for stocks than doing anything else in your life. Anybody? I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, right? Everybody has to have a hobby, but um, it could be fun, right? I mean, like for me, looking at charts and looking at technical analysis is fun. I love doing that. Steve, it's fun, but it's not that fun. Okay, Andy's still trying to decipher all the numbers. Gary says a yes. There we go. I like that. Okay, Gary, just put it out there. Yes. Lou says, I love it, but I don't trust myself yet. Good. Okay, good. Good job. Love the answers here. How about how many of you fall into this category? You have nothing else to do with your time. Hopefully nobody falls under this category, right? You know, we all have things to do, but this is why kind of streamlining the process. I know we all have other things that we need to do, that we want to do, so we don't want to just bog ourselves down with this. Okay. Get married. Ask my wife, said Gary. Good ones. All right. So, Owen, I have more fun stuff to do. Not saying that this isn't fun, right, Owen? But you have more fun stuff to do than just this. Okay. Now, so let's talk about the stock market pyramid. I'm sure some of you have seen this before. Steve, I need to sort my sock drawer. Oh boy, yeah, you don't want to get those plaids mixed up with the argyles. Anyway, stock market pyramid. Okay, so depending on type of stocks you're looking at, and at any point in time, you can say that there's probably a base of about 6,000 to 7,000 stocks that are trading on the exchanges, and we're not counting into situations here like the over-the-counter or bulletin board stocks, things along that line. Just reputable big companies. Then we have that list of stocks broken up into sub industry groups. Then we have those sub-industry groups broken up into industry groups. The industry groups broken up into sub-industry groups, sub-industry groups broken up into individual stocks. All of these all fall under the sectors. Now, we do know that there is 11 sectors plus cash that you have in your account. And then the big market is the market cap right up on top for us there. Okay. So, how do we know when we're going to be doing and what we're going to be looking for? Well, at different points of time, we may be focusing on different areas of this pyramid. Okay. So, for example, if we have maybe different times of the year, we might focus on a specific sector or a specific industry group or even sub-industry group, a specific economic situation, where we're at in the economic calendar, or where the market is at. We may focus on some different sectors and some different industry groups at that point in time. Okay. Now, one of the things that it can be very, very helpful is a sector rotation. Now, how many of you have heard of the term sector rotation before? Okay. A lot of people saying yes. A lot of people saying yes. Now, how many of you actually know what sector rotation is all about? Because this is one of the things that can certainly help us as we start to focus on stocks to buy or stocks to focus on in groups and areas of the market to look at. Now, one thing I will caution against: just because we're in a certain area of a sector rotation, just because we're in a certain time frame, doesn't necessarily mean that there are other stocks in different sectors or different interest groups that cannot be doing well, right? So again, we still try to go and find the areas where we might have the most success at any given point in time. So I'm going to bring up a little graph here, a little visual of sector rotation. Okay. And this is what we're looking at. for this. Now we do have this kind of broken up on this graph between the economy and then the market, because there are different things that can be affected, and the economy and the markets, they're just kind of following each other, ebbing and flowing, catching up, trying to catch up to the other one, and so on and so forth. So the market itself is kind of signified by this red line, and the economy is signified by the blue line. Now, again, folks, market and economy are not the same thing. Just wanted to point that out. Sometimes people get this and kind of lump it together. They're not really the same thing. Also, people will say, well, the economy is kind of lags the market, or the market is a leading indicator of the economy. And I guess you can say that because of the things that it does, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be always that kind of a top of a relationship. So we do have kind of market bottom, bull market, top of the market right there, and then it starts to go into a bear market, and then a late bear market. Okay. And then back here, it'll start all over again at the market bottom. The economy, we have the full recession, early recovery, full recovery as the market, the economy's up at the top, and then early recession, and it comes back and recycles again to a full recession. So let me ask you this: if we are, sometimes some people might have some different ideas of where we are at in both the market and the economy. But if I was going to ask you folks, as far as the market itself, okay, not the red portion of this screen, where would you what part would you say we're in right now? Are we in a market bottom, a bull market, market top, bear market, or late bear market? Where would I'm throwing this out here as kind of looking at a poll here. Where are we at? I'm saying late bear, late bear, bull, says Gary. Bear, late bear, bull market. Okay, so we do have some ideas, some differing of opinions. Okay. Different opinions of the market. So we do have some saying that we're in a bull market. We have some saying that we're in a bear market. We also have some saying that we're in a late bear market. Okay. So interesting in that situation. So let me ask you this. Based off of your answer, how does that relate to the economy? So if we're in a bull market, that means that we're probably, with the economy, somewhere in between full recession and an early recovery. Okay. If we're in a bear market, then it means that the economy's in full recovery. Well, if we're in a late bear market, means we're in an early recession. So how many of you think the economy's in a full recovery? Okay. So anybody who thinks that it's in an early recovery? How many of you think that we're in an early recovery? Okay. So there are definitely some yeses and some nos. Possible, says Andy. Maybe, but could change. Not yet. Possibly depends on the Fed. Okay. So now you can see how, yeah, people can have some differing ideas and differing opinions. So if we're in a early recovery, what does that mean that we are as far as the market is concerned? Our market top, getting close to a market top, right? So if we have a market top, what does that indicate the market might do? Go down, roll over. Now, one thing to think about when we're talking about where we might be in this rotation, and where the economy and where the market is to look at which sectors generally will tend to do better in certain types or certain areas of the markets and of the economy. So now this is not always going to be the same. Okay. This because there might be some fluctuations, there might be some different things based off of just what's going on in the world, what's going on with technology and new products and things along that line. But for those of you who are thinking we're in early recovery, that basically means that these sectors, basic materials, energy, and staples, are the ones that are leading the charge. Okay. So how many of you think that basic materials, energy, and staples have been leading the charge right now? Okay, well, maybe energy might be leading the charge, but that has something to do with a little bit more of world events, probably, right? Staples certainly isn't leading the charge. Okay, because if we do this, right, let me go ahead. I'm going to bring up the Thinkorswim Paper Money platform here, and I am going to bring up. I'm not going to switch my gadget. Excuse me. I'm going to bring up the sectors. Okay. So here we go. Here's technology. What were we saying again? We're basic materials, energy, and staples. Okay. So we know that technology isn't leading the charge right now. Okay. With healthcare, really isn't kind of, maybe trying to bounce, go back up. We have some short-term higher highs and higher lows. Finance, it was going down. Looks like it's trying to bounce and give us some higher highs and higher lows. Real estate, not looking that great. Energy, well, it was leading the charge, came down, and because of economic or world events, I should say world events, it's popping. We're looking at materials here, maybe bottoming out, but certainly isn't all that bullish. There's consumer discretionary, right? Excess spending money. It certainly wasn't leading the charge. Here we go with the industrials down, trying to maybe bounce a little bit. We have utilities here. Well, took a big drop and is starting to rally. Here we go with consumer staples. Yeah, that is certainly has taken a nosedive. Who knows? Maybe it's starting to move and go back up. Don't know. Communications is it seems like it's been on the move up, but sideways a little bit. So we don't really have anything that's jumping out and taking charge right now. Okay. So I would say that this one's a little bit hard at the market top, but we certainly don't see staples doing it. Basic materials, maybe not. If we have a bear market, energy, well, it's going up, but again, maybe it's because of world events. Staples, no, we already saw it wasn't leading the charge. Healthcare might be, but if we're in early recession or late bear market, we have healthcare, utilities, finance type of a thing. Now, it could be, and Brian says it looks like the confused markets, and some of you are just because of some other things that going on. No, more with frivolous spending and credit are high right now. Ken, that's exactly right, or just frivolous spending from the highest levels of the country. But we've seen technology over the last 3 months has just not been all that fantastic or all that great. Industrials tried to make a run, basic materials, yeah. So it's just like right now, most things are looking icky, right? Looking at things, just making it all icky. So, as I said, you might have a few things slip in or slip out of these areas of the market in a situation where something that's supposed to be doing well at a certain point in time may or may not. Something that shouldn't be is doing well. And that's why I say be careful of just saying this is what's supposed to be happening at this point in time, and then just, you know, making all your decisions on it. This is why we always say, folks, make sure it's already meeting criteria, the things that you want to see before you do anything with it. Okay. Brian says, very happy he sold his business last year. There you go. So, I would probably, if I'm not so sold on everything being so hunky dory with the economy, and things like that. I still think there's going to be some rough roads ahead. I would probably say that we're somewhere, at least in the economy, in this situation, maybe the early recession or a little bit further down. So if that's the case, then we might be looking at somewhere in a bear market or late bear market. Doesn't mean that it can't continue to go down, but at some point in time, right, the market is going to go ahead, because I don't believe we're in full recession right now, personally. Okay, there's the argument that we're not going to get into a recession or full recession. That's yet to be seen. There's still too much out there, too many indicators that are talking about that. Okay. Um, market dropped as the president spoke in Israel. Yeah, yeah. Anytime he well, you know what, the market should rally as long as he didn't fall down. That's what I should say. Okay, but so again, right? We have to be careful and not be so tightly married to this is what's supposed to happen at this point in time. Okay, this is what's supposed to happen at this point in time, because it may or may not happen. Now, I know all of you have heard the Santa Claus rally at the end of the year in retail. Well, it doesn't always mean that we're going to have a Santa Claus rally at the end of the last quarter of the year. A lot of times we do, but there are many times that we don't. So all I'm saying is just be careful and look for good opportunities at any point in time. Okay. And what time frame are these cycles? There is no time frame, Jack, because there is no time frame that says a recession has to last this long, or a recovery has to last this long. Sometimes it can be very quick, right? After COVID, right? The COVID recession happened very quickly, and the rally happened very quickly. The recovery happened very quickly. So there isn't any time frames specific that they have to last this long, type of thing. So that's why we have to look at it and see what's going on with it. But good question. And Ken, you're exactly right. Ken said geopolitical events can disrupt these in a heartbeat. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. All right. So what does all this have to do with us? Well, we need to make sure that we're finding our stocks. A couple different ways we can do this. Now, again, you might hear looking for stocks, searching for stocks is finding your favorite fishing hole. Where's the place that you will normally go to find your stocks? What places do you like to go, or what things do you like to use to help you find your stocks? Okay, so find that the fishing hole. Is it the top-down approach? Now, the top-down approach means first and foremost you're looking at what's going on in the markets, and you're going to that pyramid, right? That I showed in the earlier screen. It's the market. You might even take it a step further and go, geopolitical things, and then domestic, and then market, and industries. I mean, sectors, industry subs, and all the way down to the stock. So that's a top-down approach. You could do the bottom-up approach, where you're just looking at a stock and then doing it the reverse, seeing if that stock is doing well, if it's in a good industry group and sector that you like, so on and so forth. Maybe you like to go and look at a newsletter. Maybe you subscribe to some sort of newsletter that they give you ideas and things along that line. Okay, so whatever your favorite fishing hole is, you feel comfortable going there. Doesn't always mean that you can't improve your approach to it, but you go and you find that spot. Now, how many of you, when you go to your favorite fishing spot, it seems like you are never finding anything while somebody else is just reeling in everything? Okay. Sometimes your fishing hole dries up. Sometimes it just, what used to work for you and the things and the criteria that you were using, you were like the guy on the right hand side of the boat, but now you're on the guy on the left hand side of the boat. Larry says, story of my life. Okay. Now, one of the things is it could be the current market conditions that's causing your fishing hole to dry up, right? Again, kind of going back to that sector rotation, where we are at as far as the market is concerned, the economy is, things along that line. Or maybe you're too strict with your criteria. See, because when you set up your criteria to begin with, let's just say that the markets were very, very, very bullish, and things were companies were just making money. They sneeze, the CEO sneezes, and then money shoots out their noses. Okay, and now you're trying to just narrow down the companies that you wanted to look at. So you make your criteria really, really strict, so you're not getting back thousands of stocks to look at. So maybe now things have kind of changed with economic conditions, market conditions, that those strict criteria is not bringing you back anything. Okay. Or maybe your criteria just may not work anymore. Maybe your criteria was so specific for something that was going on at that point in time. Now it's not. Now maybe you were having some very strict criteria for bullish stocks, and now the market's not bullish anymore, and it's just not bringing back anything. Now that might not be a bad thing, but we do have to kind of think about this and what's going on with it. Okay. And seeing if you really are needing to change your criteria, loosen some rules up and some things that you're using to help you reel in some of those fish again. Now, if you're just saying I'm fine with my criteria, and if it's not bringing anything back for me to look at, I'm fine with that as well. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because you're not. Folks, don't settle for something. Okay, don't settle for something. Don't talk yourself into doing something just because you just can't find anything. That doesn't work for us. Okay. Doesn't work if you settle. You will hear me, and for those of you who've been here for a while, you hear me say this all the time, and your newer folks will hear me say this a lot as well. In a good set of rules tells you what to look at, or tells you when to get into a trade. A great set of rules tells you when not to get into a trade. Okay. Are we looking just for good rules, or are we looking for great rules? Okay, we're looking for great rules. We're looking for great things. All right, so let's get moving on with this. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to find this? Now, some of you have put in some of the things that you like to use as far as your fishing holes are concerned. Now, folks, doesn't matter where you go. Daniel, how can you pull up that sector rotation graph you displayed for internet? That's where I pulled this off of. There's tons of things very similar to it and look like it, but it all gives the same information. How about a screenshot? Okay, I'll do it really quick. I don't want to go backwards because we have other things to talk about, other things to do. Just going to do that really quick. If you don't get it now, go back to the recording and take your screenshot. Okay. Which site? Just type in search sector rotation. Just type in sector rotation. You'll get a whole bunch of things that pops up. Whole bunch of things. Okay. All right. I'm going to move forward. Okay. Whoop, here we go. So let's move forward. How are we going to do this? Now, as I was saying, folks, you can pretty much go and look and scan and find things anywhere, right? Your broker on their website will usually have an area for you to go ahead and search for stocks. Some of them might even have the ability for you to put in a little bit of criteria to search for specific things that you want to see. Others will just have just a flat, just kind of non-interactive type of scan. It just has these stocks for you to go ahead and look at. Okay. So that's something that you want to think about. Where are you going to do it? So your broker can do that. Most financial websites on the internet will have some kind of area to go ahead and do some searching and do some scans and pull up some stocks. Again, some of those are just some very static types of things based off of criteria that they've put together. Some of might allow you to be a little bit more interactive and change some criteria. I do know that some websites that are free also have a subscription base might give you some more things to go ahead and options for you to do as well. So it doesn't matter where you go and do it. You just have to be comfortable with what you're seeing. Okay. So what do you mean you lost the screen? This is a screen right here. I'm on here. You can see doing my scribbles on there. Okay. I just came to the interweb here. Okay. Everybody see that? All right. So I'm going to go to the internet here. One of the things that you can do is pull up something that we call FinViz. We use FinViz a lot in our classes. And you can just come up here to the top and just type in finviz.com, not .x, but .com, okay? Finviz.com and hit enter. Brings up FinViz. A lot of good things that you can use on FinViz. Now, again, this is a free site. They also have a paid version if you wanted to spend money and give yourself some more features, but you don't need to. It's a free site and you can do a lot of the things that you need. So if you come up here to the top, we have a screener right here. They have the screener, third from the left. Okay. And if I click on there, it now brings up an area where you can go in and start to put in criteria that is important to you to narrow down the list of stocks. Because right now, this is just bringing back all the stocks that they say are out there for you to use. And right now, that is 8,738 stocks. Okay. Now, if you really enjoy doing this, you can go through each of these 8,738 stocks or 437 pages. Okay. Probably not well worth your time. But up here is where you can actually start to put in criteria that you want to use. No way, Jose says Linda. So we have descriptive. There's also a fundamental, and then also there's a technical. Folks, I would say just to click on all right here and bring up all three of those areas. So I just clicked on that, brings them all up. So you can go ahead and make some things, put some things in there that you want to use and you want to see in order to do your searches or your scans. Now, again, also depends on what you're trying to do. What type of trade are you trying to do? A strategy. Are you trying to do a longer term type of a trade? Are you trying to do a shorter term swing type of a trade? Because you could actually have some different criteria for that. And you can do this and create some things and then save it so you can come back here and use it again. And you can save it a couple different ways. Now you can actually register and sign up. You don't have to pay, but you can register and then save it right on FinViz, or you can just not register and do it and then take and save the screen in your browser, and it'll work that way as well. However you want to do it, it's fine. But some of the things that you might want to do and some of the things you may not want to do is don't get too restrictive. Okay, you still want to have something for you to look at. Don't get too restrictive. Now, yeah, exchange, I wouldn't sit there and say I'm only going to be looking for something on, the New York Stock Exchange or the Amex, whatever it is. Okay, don't I would say just any exchange. Now, you might want to do something with market cap. Now, market cap is just meaning the size of the company. So if we click on this and open it up, do you want to focus only on mega caps, or do you want to focus on large or mid? Or maybe you want to focus on everything that's above a mid cap or everything that's above a small cap. So you make that choice. I probably would be careful of going micro cap or anything else along that line, but maybe just a small cap or larger. So plus small means small cap or larger companies. Okay. Now, just by doing that, it knocked our total down from 8,700 to 3,400 just with that one selection. You can also start to do some other things. Now, if you wanted to get into some fundamentals that you like, you can do that. One thing that I've noticed, and some things that I've been playing around with, if PE is anything that you like to see, right? I'll click on this. Now you can have a lot of different choices here. I tend to just will do anything that's like profitable, anything that's higher than zero. And so any of my fundamentals, unless I really want something that I specifically have to see, I'm going to just do profitable. So whether it's PE ratio, whether it's something like return on assets, I'm just going to do positive. So whatever is going to be important to you that you want to see, maybe you're doing this as a longer term buy and hold type of a thing. Okay, you might want to see some more things on the fundamental side to help you come up with the best candidates. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do, I'm just gonna come over here and start over on this very left-hand column. I'm going to do like a what's performance, right? Do you want it up today, down today? Do you want it up for the week? Do you want it down for the week? Do you want it for the month? Again, that will all depend on this type of strategy. If you're going to do maybe some shorter term type of trades, maybe you want to see it up today, just not up maybe by a percentage, but maybe just up today. You can do that. Okay, but if you're going to say maybe a longer type of a trade, then maybe you'll go to performance 2 and then say, maybe I want to actually see it up for the month. Okay. Or maybe I want to see it up for the week. If I scroll up down a little bit further, we can see this, right? So maybe I just say for the month up as well. Okay. If it's a longer term type of a scenario or whatever time frame that you wanted to go ahead and put in there, it's up to you whether you want to use these or not. Now, if it was a long-term approach and you're putting in fundamentals that you wanted to see and so on, I would probably start to look at a 50-day simple moving average on here. Okay. And if I did that, I'll pull this up and I would probably just put in price above the 50-day moving average. Don't want it below the 50-day moving average. I want to see that stock at least above that intermediate time frame, that intermediate moving average, to give me a good feel that that stock is at least moving in the direction I want it to be moving. Okay. So I know I said I was going to focus on the left, but I just kind of took it by step along here in this situation. To the next column. One of the things, again, that you might want to look at is price down here. You can say any, but yeah, remember that means that any could be bringing back a stock that's trading for 50 cents. You probably don't want to do that, even though you've kind of refined the search a little bit up here with the market cap. You can still come back with very low price stocks. I mean, there's small cap stocks and even mid cap stocks out there that are trading under $5. You might not want to do that, so you would need to pick a minimum price that you'd want to see. Like, is it under $20? Or is it, whoops, why did that? Is it under $20? We probably don't want it under $20. We want it over $20 or whatever number it is that you want to see. What's the bottom line? What's the bare minimum of the price of the stock that you would feel comfortable trading? If it's 15, it's fine. You do that. If it's 40, fine. You do that. But again, doesn't mean that if you you pick these things and the search doesn't bring back results, doesn't mean that you just like, okay, and you just forget about it and go try a search someplace else. No, you can refine your searches here and customize it to what you want to see. Ken, how about an over undersold RSI? If you wanted to. If you wanted to. That's the beauty of it. You can change it or you can customize it for what is important for you that will bring back the stocks that you want to see. Okay. Now you can, like it has an RSI right here, right? You can do this if you wanted to, oversold, overbought, not oversold. You could select that. I'm not a big fan of using a technical indicator as part of my scan, because you can have a very good stock that might not meet the technical indicator that now you're using to take stocks out of the watch list. And they meet everything else. But again, if you're doing it on a long-term basis, meaning a buy and hold or a trend trade, the stock itself might not meet an RSI that you put in here. It might not be oversold. It might be above, 30. It might be 50. And now it's not bringing it up for you to look at. And is that going to matter? Yes, it will, because if it's a buy and hold, it's still you've now weeded out a stock just because it doesn't meet a technical indicator. But again, folks, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. If you're comfortable with what it brings back, up to you. Up to you. Okay. So over $20. Now look at what we've done. We've taken this list of 8,700 stocks. Right now it's 110. A little bit more manageable, right? Little bit more manageable there. Maybe it's still too much. Maybe it's too much. So there's probably something else if you want to try to narrow it down even more. Okay. Maybe forward PE ratio. Okay, any, I just wanted to be profitable. I'll do that. Now it's 118. Now that actually went up instead of down, didn't it? That's kind of weird. Okay, you could do USA only if you wanted to. Okay, you can do USA only. Like that's country up here in the top left. Well, excuse me, top right. Where's my cursor? There's my cursor. You can do country up here if you wanted to. But I don't know. There's some pretty good stocks that are out there in other countries. Okay, right? There's some Switzerland, Chubb. There's healthcare companies. But if you wanted to, you can certainly do that, right? Say, I'm just all USA, USA. There's 94. Okay. I'm just going to change that back to any. One other thing that you can do. And Art, you got me. You're leading me here. I'm glad it. Gary, can you bracket a price range only if you pay if you pay for the service? You can do some custom things. Okay, so for example, you can bracket it. You can do a kind of a small bracket here down below, but if you wanted to customize it, it's a pay subscription. To me, this is I mean, you might like some of these numbers in between here. To me, that's a little bit too restrictive for me. So I'm just going to go with over $20 on there. Now, what about average volume? Okay, we probably don't want to find stocks that are trading 7,000 shares a day. We want liquid stocks. So average volume right here. Okay. Now I'm clicking on this. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would select try to trade a stock with under 50,000 shares traded on average. I don't that's a head scratcher for me. Okay. But they have it here for whatever reason. Now, you have to come up with a minimum. What's your minimum? Is it 300,000? Is it 500,000? Is it a million? Now, again, that could also change from the type of strategy that you were doing. Maybe if you're doing something to look for stocks to trade options with, you might want to do over a million. If you don't care about trading options and you're just doing you're fine with trading just the stock, maybe 500,000. Up to you, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. So we've narrowed this down to 71 stock. Okay. So again, might be too big, might be too little, up to you. Now, for me personally, again, I'm just giving you some personal things. I don't like to weed something out because of a price pattern. Just like I said, I don't really like to screen based off of a technical indicator. And the reason I don't like doing a price pattern is because I know that a lot of times the computer has a hard time really identifying what a particular pattern might be. I know a lot of you have ran maybe some searches and some scans, and it said that on the chart, especially on FinViz, it's on a chart and it says it's a double top, and you're just kind of scratching your head going, well, how in the heck is that a double top, or a triangle or something along that line, right? I know you've seen it before. So I don't like weeding it out based off of that. Or insider transactions. I couldn't give a rat's rear about insider transactions. Okay. Maybe though, if I want to stick on more of the fundamental part of it, maybe return on investment. Okay, maybe I'll just go positive. I want a positive return on investment. Didn't change, still 71. Watch out for the ads telling you about the next winner, Ken. You got it. Yeah, those little pop-ups there. I love that. Okay. Maybe earnings per share growth this year. Maybe I'll go positive on that. So we're looking kind of this longer term approach on here. Oh my goodness, come on. That's there we go. Now I dropped this now down to 39 stocks. Is that more of a list as you can go through. 39 better than 100? Is it better than 8,000? Yeah, it's a little bit more manageable in this situation. It's workable. I like that, Jim. Okay. That doesn't mean that every single stock on here is going to be something that you will be interested in. Well, this is where we still have to put our eyes on it to see. Okay, just because it technically will meet any of this criteria we put on, when you pull up the chart, you may not like the direction the stock is heading. So that's still something we need to think about. So, we don't have the charts here, but in order for us to pull up the charts, there's that little tab kind of right in the middle. If we click on charts, it'll bring up a little thumbnail chart for us on these things. So there we go. So right off the bat, I mean, the very first one that we're looking at, it met all the criteria we put up here, but what about the technical side of it? Are you really that excited about that stock? Michael, would I do PEG? Yeah, you can if you want. So see, for me, I'm just basically have already weeded that stock out. What about Adobe? You like Adobe? Sure. What about AJG? Does that trend look good? Sure. Okay. So, AKAM, AVGO. AVGO is maybe going sideways a little bit. You might want to see that pop above to be a little bit more. CB, that's one of those non-US stocks right there. But if you selected just US, that wouldn't pull up. So again, you're doing some weeding out now based off of what the chart looks like. So there is actually 4 pages. We'll just go to the next one. EDU, right there. ELV. I don't know what that's got. Did a little pop recently. But if my goal was to put in stocks that I first look at and say I like that, then I probably wouldn't look at ELV. Maybe EPD. Okay, ESMT. If there's other things that I like better, I'd probably put those in instead. Okay, so again, it comes down to what you like. Oh, here we go. JKS. That's a stinking downtrend. Okay. Don't know if I like that. I'd probably prefer something else. Maybe Lockheed Martin you might start getting interested in because the defense stocks have started to pop because of what's going on worldwide. LPG looks like it's doing pretty good, right? So again, you can now do the weed out process. Now, how do we tie this back to maybe what we were talking about on the sector rotation type of thing? How can we maybe take this and narrow this down a little bit further for us? Okay. How can we narrow this down further for us? So what if we do this? There's something that we like to use, and Charles likes to use it a lot, especially if you'll see it if you have, the Paints Perspective. He'll show this on there a lot. If you have the W Street, the hotline services, this will pop up in a lot of the reports. It's called the heat map. Right now, we can use the sector sort, and we're going to be doing that. But we're just not going to throw it out there just to do it, right? I'm sure most of you are familiar with the heat map. So if I go to maps right here, this is the heat map. Okay, red and green and different degrees of red and green. And this is just showing us what's up and what's down based off of the color. And red is down, green is up, and the brighter the color, the bigger the move in that direction. The darker the color, the smaller the move in that direction. Now, the heat map, it defaults to 1 day. Now, I like the heat map on FinViz a lot more than I like the heat map on Thinkorswim, because Thinkorswim is just showing you what's going on for that day, and it does not allow you to change it. but the FinFES does. And so we'll be able to change it right here, folks. 1 day performance. I can click on there and say, what is going on maybe for the last month? And then if we start to think about now those sector rotations, okay, remember if we're in a recession, what type of sectors were doing well? Healthcare was normally will do well. Okay, energy might do well. Finance might do well. You know, financials down here might do well. Okay, so we can now, if we understand or we think we know which sectors might be performing based off of the market or the economy, sure. But if we don't know, like how many of us are just kind of still scratching our head, just trying to figure out where we might be in the whole picture? Well, guess what? Now maybe we don't need to guess. If we just pull it up maybe on a month, or if you want to go a little bit longer term, 3 month, and see which ones are performing, hey, now we can go ahead and now narrow our search, narrow our scan a little bit more. Okay, maybe communication services, you know, that's been green for 3 months. Okay, healthcare pretty much been green. Energy's been green. Okay, so maybe we can come back to our screener now. Oh, I didn't save my cert. Oh, I didn't save it. Oh, bummer. Didn't save it. Oh, bummer. Okay, let me go back up here. Oh, that was dumb. Need to save it first before you click off it and go to something else. I'm just gonna go here and click on the things that we had on here. 20. Apologize. Performance was up today. PE was profitable. Return on assets was profitable or positive. Performance up for, whoops, up for the month. See, I should have taken a screenshot on it. 50-day simple moving average, price above. The average true range target price, didn't have any of that on there. Forward PE, I had profitable. Return on equity, I had positive. I had average volume 500,000. I had EPS growth positive, and again, if you wanted to do PEG, you can do that. You can pick a number on that, but I'm not picking it. I didn't have it on mine. Let's see, what else did I have on here? I think return on investment was positive. I'm missing something because I have 47 stocks. But you know what? In the time that we created the search, and then now come back and recreated it, there might have been, you know, a couple more stocks that popped in there. What else did we have on here? That's all I had. Okay. Return on investment. Okay, I had that one. EPS. I think market cap right here. It was small and higher. And I got it all. I think I got it all. Okay, so now again, it popped up a couple more stocks. So how do you save this? Now, if you actually create an account. Now, again, you can create an account without having to pay money. You can just go ahead and create an account. All right. So once you do that, if you decide that you want to create the account, then you come up here where it says my presets, click on that and save screen. And then it'll give you an opportunity to give it a name. Okay. So let me just save this. So I'm going to say new screen here. I'm going to name it begin intermediate class, and today's date 10/18/23. Okay. And then just click on save changes. Now, if you don't want to sign up for an account and log in, then what you can do is once you have your scan all complete and you have it and you like it, then just save it as a favorite on your browser. Okay. So if we go here, right, you save it as a browser. See, I've done that as well. And I've saved some things and that I can just pull up on my browser and it automatically will go there. All right. Now, if we go back to the sector, and what was something we saw? Healthcare, we saw communication, and we saw energy. So if we wanted to narrow it down just a little bit more, maybe communications, and see what happens here. Well, we only have 3 stocks. It says 4, but Google and Google, basically the same thing. So I think that's a whole lot more manageable. Okay, no China. So that only leaves you 2 stocks. Okay, NetEase. All right, well, maybe you say, okay, what if I do this instead? Now, again, without paying money for it, you could customize it and put multiple sectors. Okay, but seeing as if it's the free version like we have here, then you just have to do one by one. Energy, we'll click on energy. There we go. 8 meeting the criteria. Okay. And pretty interesting. What don't we see on here? We don't see kind of like the XOMs or the COPs, ExxonMobil's, ConocoPhillips. These are just basically more along the lines of equipment and services. Why does Google show us 2 separate items? Because they have 2 different stocks to trade, GOOG and GOOGL. And what's the difference? One has voting rights and the other does not. Okay. So there we go. Again, 8. Or maybe what was the other one? Healthcare. Let's look at healthcare. We can bring up healthcare. We've got 10 healthcare companies we can look at. So see how we were able to narrow it down just by going to the heat map and seeing what sectors might be performing well on a specific time period that you selected for the style of trading that you wanted to go ahead and do. Now, we'll back to the charts here. We are in healthcare here. Now we can do the same weeding out process. Oh, ABCM was in the healthcare, and that was one we already decided on when we were looking at it before. That's one we probably didn't want to use. Okay, but CI, Cigna, CNC, COR, ELV, that one might be a little questionable, but the rest seem to be positive. Maybe PDCO, I don't know. That one I might be struggling a little bit to look at that one. But it could be very well that it could be starting a new uptrend, and maybe if it breaks through this resistance level of around $31 or so, it might be an opportunity. But you have to make a determination on which ones you want to keep or which ones you do not want to keep on here. Okay. So how do we go ahead and move this or put this into, for example, Thinkorswim? If you're using the Thinkorswim paper money platform, how do we move this over to Thinkorswim? Well, very easy. Well, maybe a difficult way is just to write down every symbol that you want to write down, and then go ahead and put it into a watch list you have on Thinkorswim. The other thing that you can do is come up here and click on tickers. Now, this might be something where even if you have any, right, where we have now we have 50 stocks. See how that's continuing to climb? It's changing throughout the day. But let's just say you didn't um, put in a sector, right? You just put anything that's meeting your criteria fundamentally and technically in that situation, and you have 50. It still works really good this way, even if you have you have stocks that you know you don't want to do, like ABCM. Okay, we'll come up here to tickers, is right next to charts. We'll click on that. And these are all the symbols of the 50 stocks right now that this scan has brought up. Con prime tu pero dará nonstop. Okay, I'm just reading the ad here in case you were wondering what I was talking about. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that ad. So what you want to do is go ahead and just put your cursor at the beginning, click and drag, and make sure all of them are highlighted. Now, again, folks, some people might ask, why are there, the symbols different sizes? It's just showing you the market cap, how big of a company they are. The bigger the symbol, the bigger company. Smaller the symbol, the smaller the company as far as market cap. So if we go ahead and just click on it, maybe we already know we don't want ABCM. So maybe I'm just going to start at Adobe and go down there to VMW. And then all you do is you do a right click and copy. Okay, right click and copy. Now you go ahead and you bring up your Thinkorswim platform. Now what I would do in the Thinkorswim platform, I would go to Market Watch. You can do it over here on the left-hand side if you want, but I would make it a little bit easier. I go to Market Watch right here up at the top of the screen. Click on that and go to quotes, and it brings up a watch list. Now this has, for me, it says current bullish watch list. But if we want to create a new watch list, we'll come over here to the right-hand side of the screen, and we see these little bullet points, okay? And if we click on the bottom set of bullet points, it says create watch list right off the bat. Okay. Now you do import, but that's something different. That's if somebody creates something and then shares it with you, something on Thinkorswim, they share it with you. But we're going to create a watch list right there. Brings up this box. Now, you give it a name, but you can also just go, if you've written it down, you just put it all down there. If you want to put everything in here, we're just going to go ahead and put in import. Clicked on import down here at the bottom. Okay. File or paste symbols from a clipboard. Paste symbols from a clipboard because we saved it. It now brings up all, well, we say 49 out of the 50. It brings up all the stocks that we copied and pasted, or copied. We haven't pasted yet, but now we've copied. Now you have to be very, very careful here, folks. You need to make this change down here. Oh, darn it, this dumb thing is, okay, let me get over it. Okay, so it doesn't pop up. Where it says insert symbols. If you don't have a current watch list up, you probably will, because it will, when you come in here to the Market Watch and the quotes, it'll probably have some watch list up for you. You don't want to replace the current symbols, because if you have a watch list that you like and you created, you don't want to get rid of it, this will get rid of it and add the symbols in here. So you want to add to current symbols or replace current symbols. Okay. You Need to be careful here. Okay. But what you'd want to do is give it a name. Oh, I didn't give it a name first. Oh, okay, let me do this. Let me cancel first. Give it a name. Begin intermediate class 10, 18, not 15, 10, 18, 23. Okay. Paste symbols from clipboard. Oh, well, yeah, paste symbols clipboard. And do that. I'm going to save it. Oh, oops, click OK. Beginning intermediate class, symbols, and I'm going to save right there. This is now our new search. This is the scan of the search we just ran, and this is search that we imported from FinViz. So Lou, the bigger the symbol, the bigger the cap. This is also true in the boxes of the heat map. Yes, it is. Is it measuring the volume or something else? Size matters. Yes, it does. But no, it is measuring the market cap, both the heat map and those symbols. That's they're kind of tied together. So there we go. We ran a scan on FinViz. Copied them, narrowed it down based off of criteria that you wanted to use, copied the symbols, imported them, moved them over, created a new watch list, or you could add it to a watch list if you wanted to, but created a new watch list in the Thinkorswim platform, and now they're here. Now, again, we can go ahead and did I name this something different? Oh, did I call it 140? Did I do a fat finger on that? Oh, I did. I did a fat finger on that. All right. So, okay, it's a fat 40. Okay. So now we can just run through and just kind of do that same process. Is it trending in the direction we want it to be trending overall? Okay. And if it is, we can keep it. If it isn't, we'll get rid of it. So, everything seems to be trending in the direction that we wanted to see so far, and so good. So we like it. Boom, like it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, you might want to see them. They're still a little good. You pick out the ones that are meeting the criteria for you. Okay, and then get rid of the ones that aren't. So and this is just a quick way of doing it. So you can import everything. Maybe Hess, oil, we might not like that. I don't know. But you wait till you get all the way down to the bottom of your screen. Or where am I at right here? We're on JKS. Solar, we don't like that one, so I'm just going to get rid of it. This doesn't want I don't want this in my watch list. So we'll just come over here to the left-hand side in the watch list and just take out that symbol and hit enter. And that is now no longer in the watch list for us. And just go all the way down through the chart until you've weeded out the ones that were questionable. And Microsoft is struggling a little bit there, isn't it? Okay. Motorola struggling a little bit there. So if, again, sideways for 7 months, 6 months, you may not like that, and you might take it out. NASDAQ. Okay. So that's how you do it. Greg asked, how do you select the symbols from FinViz? Okay, we went over that. I will go back to it. If you're on the charts, or even if you're not on the charts, so if you're just on symbols or whatever it might be, right, on any one of these, okay, doesn't matter where you're at. If you're on overview, which is basically bringing up the symbols of it. Oh my, it's thinking now. It's running slow. There we go. If it doesn't matter where it's at. Okay, whatever. You need to click on tickers. This is now where all the symbols are, and in a copyable format. And just like you copy anything else, if you want to copy a section or an area, then you take your cursor, put it where you want to start, click and drag, and it highlights it. So you're copying anything that you're highlighting, and then you can do a right click on your mouse and do a copy. Or you can do a control C if you have a PC, or a command C if you have a Mac. Okay. And then you copy it, and then that allows you to move it over into your Thinkorswim and create that watch list out. Okay. Now, does not matter. Mark, you can do whatever you want. Mark asks, how about categorizing by percent change positive on the watch? Do whatever you want. Whatever you feel works for you. But again, percent change is just based off of today only. Because he's talking about this right here. Sorting it by percent change, right? You can, in any of the columns on the watch list, you can click on it and sort it by from highest to lowest, from lowest to highest, or just in the order that it appears. If you want to do it, if it gives you the information that you feel is important and to do it that way, then by all means. Now, really quick, we're kind of coming up on our time here. We can also do a scan in the Thinkorswim platform. Okay. So I'm going to go to scan up here and then stock hacker. And that comes up with this. Now you can do a bunch of different things. Now this can become very, very complicated. For those of you who have played around with this before, I know there are a lot of you have probably figured out and like some things to do. Some of you have probably gotten in here just I have no stinking idea what to do here. Okay. So if you just, if you're under the on the side of, you know what, this just might be a little bit too difficult, then that's fine. Don't worry, don't use it. Okay. But if you wanted to use it, then you can go in here and start to run some scans and start to create some scans to help you bring up things for you to look at as well. Okay. Now it pops up here with some stock things, right? Stock. Now again, depending on if you're using the paper money platform or you have a live account, there are things that you can do in the live account that you cannot do in the paper money account. Just I'm throwing that out there for you. Okay. But you have to now make a decision on what's important to you to do the scan again, just like anything else that allows you to input criteria like we did on FinViz. Okay, so the first one, stock. What's important to you? Probably not looking at bid or back volume or volatility or asset size or anything else along that line. Okay, maybe what could be important for us would be market cap. Okay, so we select market cap. Now this number we're going to type in here in the minimum is basically off of million. So the number we type in here is going to be millions. So if we just type a 1 in here, that means that is 1 million. Okay, if I take my click out of that, so it looks like the market cap in here would be 1 million. So that would be a very small, less than small micro cap types of companies. Okay. Now, what happens if you wanted to maybe focus on mid cap or higher, right? If you want small cap or higher, then then basically you would go 200 million, small cap or higher. Okay. But let's just say that you wanted to go to a mid cap or higher. Okay, mid cap or higher. Then if you can't change this M to a B, you actually have to put it in as a $1 million value. So how would we, let's say mid cap. So what a mid cap starts at is 2 billion. Okay. So how would we make this number represented 2 billion using million? Now there's a question, right? Okay. So 200 million right here that we have, 200 million right here. If we add another zero, whoops, okay, that's 200 million. If I do 2,000 million, that would actually be 2 billion. Okay. That would be 2 billion. 2,000 millions would be 2 billion. So I'll just throwing that out there for you. Okay. So if you wanted something that was trading $1 billion or more, then just have the appropriate amount of zeros on that one. So there you go. You all of you got it. All right, so let's go. Maybe something else that you might want to put in. Maybe you want to put in a volume. Now, be careful with this because here in this, with Thinkorswim, especially in the paper money platform, it does not allow you to put in any kind of average volume. It's just is allowing you to search for volume for that day. Now, you do need to be careful because let's just say that you have a 1 million a 1 million share volume. You like to see a stock that trades 1 million shares of average volume a day, so you go ahead and put in 1 million shares. Now, what happens? Did I put in a million here? Yes, I did. That's a million. So what happens? You have to be careful. If you ran your search, your scan, half hour after the market opens, there will probably be very few shares or very few companies that have traded 1 million shares already. So whenever you're running your scan, you kind of have to take in consideration my overall goal is that the stock needs to have average of 1 million shares by the end of the day. So let's just say that instead of at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, now it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. Well, then maybe now half the time has elapsed on the trading day, then maybe you'd want to put in here the number of shares that you would expect to see halfway through the trading day. Or if it's a third of the way through the trading day, a third of the number of shares that you would expect to see. So yeah, Michael, 500,000. If you're expecting 1 million, you're halfway through the trading day, then 500,000. Now, one of the cons against this is you could have a stock that doesn't trade average 1 million shares a trading day, but for some reason today has a lot of volume, a lot higher than normal. Okay. So those are some of the things that you would want to be careful of. So the market's only been open for about 2.5 hours. So maybe I'll go 300,000 shares. Oh, CM. Okay. Found out last night a neighbor has been working in technology at TD Ameritrade and transferred to Schwab. From that, they will be making some changes to Thinkorswim, but not right away. And that the Thinkorswim team will be staying at Schwab. They should be able to help us better with brand new Schwab team. That's what we always hope for. Yes. And you know what? Every company that's bought out Thinkorswim has made changes to it. Okay, it's not uncommon. All right, so I'm going to go 300,000 right now because the market's been open for 2.5 hours. Okay. Then maybe if there's something else in here on the stock, that you want to use. I don't know. Let's look at this. Um, Open sizzle. I don't care about that. Yield. Don't care about that. Maybe PE. Okay. Now again, now this is where it has to be a little bit more. You need to know a little bit more about specific numbers or what you want to see. You can't just say, positive or negative. Now you could kind of do the exact same thing as we did with Finviz with just a lower number, depending on what it is that you're looking for, right? But again, now PE, we want to make sure that we're being a little bit more specific in the situation where, if we just go ahead and put 1, that's an extremely low PE ratio. And that might be too low for our situation. Now normally, the 20%, 25% is what you will normally hear. Again, PE has changed a little bit because now you can have companies and industry groups that have really high PE ratios, and they're good stocks. And it's just the nature of their business that they'll have high PE ratios. Okay. So you put whatever it is that you want in there. If you wanted to use it, maybe you'd want to say 25. Give yourself a little wiggle room. Now this doesn't give you a whole lot of other things, but what you can do if you wanted to add some more fundamental criteria to this, you come right up here where it says add filter. You click on that, yeah, and you can select fundamental. Now studying some patterns are a little bit more on the side of a live account, but again, you already know me. I don't like doing scans based off of a technical indicator or a price pattern. I don't want a computer to make that decision if it actually is one. But we'll go to fundamentals. We'll click on that. So what is important on the fundamentals? Maybe we wanted to be a little bit more consistent with what we did back on Finviz. Okay. What did we have on Finviz? We had return on equity, I believe, right? Or to return on assets or return on equity, had them both. Return on equity. Now, again, the good return on equity is about 10 to 15, 15 to 20%, excuse me. So you can do whatever you want. Click on there, and I'll just go maybe 20% on that. And then maybe we wanted to put return on assets as well. So we'll go back up to add filter. Whoops, not stock, excuse me. We'll get rid of, oh, bummer. I just I deleted the wrong one. I have to add them both. Fundamental, we'll go back to return on equity, minimum 20% on, whoops, 20%. And then we'll come back up here, add filter, fundamental, and we'll click on return on assets. And return on assets, I mean, you do want something positive. I'll go 5% return on assets. You could go higher if you want, right? Anything 20 or higher is extremely good. But you can come up with any number that you want on there. Okay. So yeah, we have some basic criteria here. And if there's other things that you wanted to add, you can go ahead and add. Go to the fundamentals. I'm just doing some really simple things here. If you wanted to do gross profit margins, free cash flow per share, operating margin, price to book value, whatever it is, price earnings ratio, PE ratio. We kind of did that a little bit up here. But you can do whatever it is that you want, that you feel is important for you to go ahead and do your scan. Okay. So have the scan. We've got some things in there, some basic criteria that you want to use. Then we'll come down here, run the scan. Okay. Now it came up with 50 stocks, and there's 5,393 other stocks that came up with this scan. Too many. Too many. How many of you think that that's too many? Well, how can we narrow this? Well, you can go in and add another filter to narrow it down. Okay. You can add a filter if you don't know what you're going to be doing, right? Let's see, is there something here on the stock that I wanted to look at? Well, I don't beta. I don't care about the beta. Maybe you do, but I don't see anything else here on this that's going to allow me to go ahead and reduce a number that we don't already have on here. Maybe it might be a percent change, but again, that's just looking at what's going on with it today. And if it's a longer term type of an investment, you're not going to care about that so much. So maybe it's not anything here with the stock, but again, maybe it's a fundamental. You can add another fundamental criteria on there or two to narrow it down. Or what about what we did with the FinViz? You could narrow it down by sector. How do we narrow this down by sector, folks? Wouldn't you like to narrow this down by sector? Would that be helpful? Sure, that would be helpful. So how the heck do we narrow this down by sector? Well, one of the things you can do is come up here where it says scan in all stocks. We click on that. Well, guess what this does? This is just like all the watch lists. You can scan in your own watch list that you've already created to see what pops up here. You can do any of the public watch lists that they've created and have on the Thinkorswim platform. Or, hey, what about this? By industry. This is, well, that's sectors. Okay, these are the 11 sectors. Maybe I wanted to do it by energy. Then just select all energy, run the scan. 268 stock. That's better than 5,000. Now, obviously, it's bringing up a lot of things. You might want to do some other criteria to minimize it. Maybe let's do this. Maybe I'm going to change it to 500,000. Run the scan. No, it still didn't change it that much. Okay. Or maybe we can go to, oh, what else was that? Oh, healthcare was one, right? Select healthcare. Run the scan. Anytime you make a change, you always need to run the scan. Well, we came up with even more stocks there. Okay, all righty, well, or what if we wanted energy and we wanted energy equipment and services? Now what we're doing, we've narrowed it, we've taken it from the sector down to the industry group. Maybe we'll do that. Too many, we'll scan that. 43. A little bit more manageable. Price of stock. Price of stock. We could do it by price of stock. Do we have a price of stock here? But call PE ratio. Oh, they're going to they're trying to hide it from you a little bit. Price of stock. You can either do last or you can do mark. Okay, maybe if we do mark right here, minimum $20. Now we'll run that scan. It actually gave us 50 stocks. It increased it a little bit on there. But see, you can narrow this down even more. Maybe instead of all industry groups, maybe we want just oil and gas equipment. So this is a sub-industry. This is the sub-industry. This is the industry. This is the sector. Sector, industry, sub-industry. We click on that, run the scan, 39. So you can play around with this if you kind of know what some of these things are, know what it is that you want to use, and run the scan, and then you can go ahead and save it. You can save it as a scan. Save it. Well, first of all, you can save the scan. Okay. You can save it as a watch list. Boom, right there. And then you can. The cool thing about it is you can save it as a watch list that anytime you, and then save it as a scan. Anytime you pull up that watch list, it automatically runs the scan for you for what's showing up for that particular day. So just kind of showing you some things that you can do with this. Again, a little bit more complicated. But if you want to spend some time playing around with it, just clicking on things, see what it does, see what it brings up, you certainly can do that. Okay. And go on from there. Lou, what is mark in price last or mark? Mark is just basically what they're printing, what it's showing for the price of the stock. Okay. So in this situation, we're saying that the current price has to be $20 or higher because this is the minimum. We want the stock to be at least $20 trading today. Okay. All right, folks. Does that help? I know some of you veterans have known this for a while. Hopefully, even you veterans, I've given you another little a nugget of something you hadn't known before or seen before, how to maybe incorporate some of the things that you already been using and move kind of incorporate them together. But for you newer folks, hopefully this now will allow you to, number one, go and find places for you to go ahead and search and scan and find stocks. Now, again, we did the FinViz. We did both using the heat map and the screener itself. You can put in any criteria that you want. Things that you might specifically want to see, play around with it, see what comes up, teaching you how to find your fishing holes, bring the stocks back, how to add them to a watch list. And again, same thing here. If you did, and if you played around with it on the scans on the Thinkorswim platform, again, same thing. Click on the little bullet points, save as a watch list. It'll bring it up, and then you can save it, and then it'll show up on your watch lists in your personal sections, and then start using them, looking now through those stocks to find the stocks that you are now ready to put the money in. So it's meeting the criteria for your fundamentals, for your technicals, and your behavioral. And depending on, again, the different types of strategies you might be employing, you will change up your searches and your scans and create different ones to bring back the stocks that you would like to use for those different strategies. Okay. So let's do this. Let's wrap it up because we've been doing this for a while and we do need to wrap it up. Okay. So let's go back to our slides. Appreciate it, folks. So again, determine what criteria is important for you when you're going to create your scan, you're going to create your searches. Now, again, you can go to your broker's website. They will have an area on their website for scans and for searching for stocks. Some of them might be interactive where you can add some minimum criteria, maybe not a whole lot. Other parts of it might be just it's something that they've created. You cannot make any changes to it, but still gives you ideas. A lot of the financial websites will have some sort of scan feature. In fact, let me show you really quick. I apologize. Even if you went to even Yahoo Finance, we use Yahoo Finance a lot. Okay, you can go ahead and there's a screener section here in Yahoo Finance that you can use. You can customize them. You can save some. Okay, on any of the financial websites, there's an area for you to go ahead and do something and look for things. Okay, so wherever you go is not that important. real important, but it's whatever is your favorite fishing hole. So create your watch list, stocks that meet the criteria that you want to see. Use your watch list to determine when to enter into your trades. Continue attending daily Q&A classes, or if you cannot, at least watch the recordings. Or even if you did attend, go back and watch the recordings to get comfortable with something that you still maybe had questions on. That's what they're for. Come to the beginning intermediate class next week. We'll go over some new and fantastic, wonderful things then. Practice trading in your paper trading account as well. That's where you do it. But then again, any questions, that's how to reach out to us. But thanks, folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Wednesday. And I look forward to seeing you in upcoming classes throughout the rest of the week. Take care.